Power, revolution, good intentions gone bad. That's the heart of what we're diving into today.
Definitely. And, using this fictional excerpt about Elara, how she reshaped society, it's really going to make us think about those unintended consequences, even when we mean well,
Absolutely. And the story just throws you right in. Elara's childhood, this luxurious estate, right? The Elara estate.
Oh, yeah.
And you get these images, crystal chandeliers, staircases, like decked out in gold, hallways, practically paved in marble. But then you step outside those gates, and it's like a punch to the gut. Poverty everywhere. Unavoidable.
It's jarring, and that's where this whole idea of cognitive dissonance comes in, right? Holding these two conflicting things in your mind at once, and it creates this unease. And for Elara, it's this constant tension between her privilege, that opulence, and then the stark reality just outside her door. It breeds guilt, anger, all these complicated emotions.
Yeah, and it's made even more complicated by her parents' reaction, or should I say lack of reaction. They represent like that classic blind spot of privilege, just dismissing the poverty around them. Like, oh, it's just laziness,
It's easier to cling to those comfortable narratives than to acknowledge the systemic issues at play, the things that challenge our worldview. But for Elara, their dismissal, it backfires.
Yeah.
It just fuels her doubt, makes her question everything they've ever told her, and that's a powerful catalyst for change.
It plants the seeds for her rebellion. But as we'll see, her journey to make things right, it's not exactly straightforward, is it?
No, not at all.
And she doesn't just stumble into this role of revolutionary, does she? It's like the story really highlights how strategic she is, how she understands power.
Oh, from the get-go. This isn't some idealistic kid, This is calculated. She uses her family name, builds these alliances, even resorts to, let's be honest, some pretty manipulative tactics.
Well, for sure.
To get what she wants, to gain influence. Elara knows that change, real change, it comes from having power, from controlling those levers.
And that's where this fixation on wealth redistribution comes in. She's convinced that's the answer to all the inequality she's witnessed.
Right, like it's the magic bullet.
Yeah. And there's that line in the excerpt that always gets me. She would take from the fortunate and give to the unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's almost like her mission statement.
Yeah, but it raises a huge question, doesn't it? Can it really be that simple? Can just shifting money around actually solve these deeply ingrained problems of wealth and poverty?
So you're saying it's more complicated than just taking from the rich and giving to the poor?
Way more complicated. Think about it. Real wealth creation, it's about innovation, it's about education, it's about creating an environment where businesses can thrive, create jobs.
Right.
If you dismantle all that, if you just focus on redistribution, the whole system can crash down and everyone loses.
And that's what happens to Solaris, isn't it? The society Elara is trying to fix. The story doesn't sugarcoat those consequences.
No, not at all.
You read about starvation, disease running rampant.
It's brutal.
Industries collapsing left and right. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion.
And it all goes back to Elara's misunderstanding of how economics really work. She's stuck in this mindset that wealth is this finite pie, that if one person has more, another has to have less.
The zero-sum game.
Exactly. But that's not how it works in the real world, is it?
It's tragic in a way because she's so focused on this goal, on righting these wrongs, that she misses the bigger picture entirely.
Blinded by her own ideology. And that's the danger, right? She ends up causing the very suffering she was trying to alleviate. Remember that line near the end? The wealth she had hoarded was meaningless now. Haunting, isn't it?
And it's like she gets what she wants, right? She's in control, but it rings hollow. This power she fought so hard for, it's meaningless.
Because she's a prisoner in her own right. Not just, literally in prison, but trapped by the consequences of her own choices. And that's where we see this pattern repeating through history, the cyclical nature of power. You try to tear down a system that's corrupt, and what happens? You risk creating a void where something else just as bad, if not worse, can take hold.
It's like that old saying, power corrupts. But in this case, it's more like trying to fix a broken system with even more broken tools.
Right, and that's the cautionary element here, that good intentions aren't enough.
Yeah.
We have to understand the systems we're trying to change. We can't just bulldoze our way in with good intentions and expect everything to magically work out. That's how you end up with, Solaris.
Exactly. So it's like, how do we balance that? The desire for a more just world, for equality, but also, like you said, that understanding that there's no easy fix. That we might not have all the answers.
You need humility. We need to be willing to say, you know what, I thought this would work, but it's not. So let's reassess. Let's be open to other solutions, even if they challenge our deeply held beliefs. Because the alternative, well, we're seeing it play out in Elara's story.
Yeah, clinging to a flawed ideology, even with the best intentions, it can do more harm than good in the end. It's a powerful lesson. And I think it leaves us with a lot to think about, especially in today's world, right? Where do we see these parallels? Where are we falling into those same traps? Where are we maybe letting our good intentions cloud our judgment? It's something to chew on. So until next time, happy deep diving, everyone.
Amazing, another SlopTube minute. I love it. Did you love it? If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Didn't like it? Comment down below.